Good morning, everyone. It's December 4th, 2018. I'm out of hot coffee. Anyone want to make that for me? I'm lazy. What you will be like when shit hits the fan. This is from Daisy Luther, Organic Prepper. Of course, she's another one of them people that jumped on the Trump wagon. Undoubtedly, she will regret that. So, did you ever wonder deep down in that secret place where you question yourself how you would behave in an all-out shit-hit-the-fan catastrophe? Well, I have. I've thought long and hard about it. Would I be the monster that sheds the blood of hundreds of people? Possibly. In fact, probably even more likely. Of course, Storm Clouds Gathering did a video many years back discussing this idea, and so did Canadian Prepper. And when shit hits the fan, you'll have a choice to make. Many of them. Among those is, what are you going to behave like? Would you take charge like some kind of superhero? Would you hide the entire time, terrified of being discovered? Hiding from it will just be more humiliating when you are discovered. You might as well face it. You might as well face the monsters that will come out of the woodwork. You might as well kill them. I think hiding from the stuff would be more traumatizing than dealing with it. Seriously. Would you be able to put into practice all the skills you've learned for all this time, just for that moment? Have you even cultivated survival skills? We can guess all day how we would respond, but until we're in that situation, none of us actually knows what we will be like when shit hits the fan. Now, some of us have had extremely traumatizing lives, and those of us who have, we have a certain advantage over those who have been hand-fed and sugar-coated everything. Those of us who have taken the lumps throughout our lives will have a much, much easier time than those who have been spoiled. Right? One thing she has learned from Selko's newest compilation of stories is that there are many different ways to survive, and not all of them are noble or heroic. In horrific situations, people do what they must to live. Sometimes they do what they've wanted to do all along, and sometimes they accept their fate as the only alternative to death. People hide. When we moved through the city, and this is a quote from Selko, we learned quickly in those days, adapt or die. We saw many people die. We always changed location, every night or day, a different location. We lived on the move. Any enemy groups wanted to know a bit of the territory before they strike, so we did not give them the chance to spy on our location. The next night we would be somewhere else every night. And that's one thing you're going to have to get used to, is moving. You're going to constantly have to be moving. There's not going to be any settling down in one place, because if you try, some asshole or assholes are going to come along, kill the people in your group if they're able, and steal everything you have. And if you have any decent looking women, well, you know what will come next. When I needed shelter, cover, a place to hide or sleep, I always chose the second floor in a house. A lot of time we moved from house to house with a plank of wood. We just placed that wood on windows of one house, on the balcony, or any opening on another neighboring house, and walk or crawl to that other house. Nobody wants to be on the street in no man's land. People do things they would never have done before. You know, the most mild-mannered, easygoing guy will be that guy that guns down person after person. On one occasion, he mentioned to those who were imprisoned, or who imprisoned him, that he is a good guitar player. From that day, he became something like their member. He played for them while they drank and beat and tortured other folks. It was hard for him to focus while other people suffered, but he played encouraging songs that made some men beat others in a frenzy. Would you do that? Or would you accept being tortured day in, day out? Kind of reminds me of Supernatural, when Dean is sent to hell because he sold his soul to save Sam. And Aleister Crowley, that was there torturing him, he lasted 30 years, and then after 30 years he decided, fuck this shit, I'm going to be the one doing the torturing now. Would that be you? Would you flip like that? Would you be the one to torture? So he survived by playing the guitar to entertain men who were torturing his neighbors. He grew so desperate that he, a simple musician who was anything but a fighter, undertook a daring escape from the country as soon as he got the opportunity, like something from a suspenseful action movie. People accept things that would not have been okay before. In one experience, Sokol ran into a former colleague. He was shocked when he was offered her services by the man running the group with whom he had business. A little weak, pussy-ass guy decided his wife whoring herself would be better than him fighting. She was not a prisoner, well, not obviously, but you also need to understand that if she left that group, she and her family would lose protection and steady income of goods, and kids needed to eat something. I do not know what the husband thought about all that. He was a bit of a weak guy before SHTF. So if you're a weak guy now and you have a wife, you'll probably be that guy that pimps his wife out and turns her into a fucking whore. But they survived because he pimped her out. I would rather survive by inflicting violence on anybody I come across who is a threat. People get creative. Some people avoided doing terrible things by getting creative and giving the illusion that they were protected and dangerous. Here's one example. He was a lawyer before SHTF, He never fired a shot from any weapon, and violence was completely strange to him. When SHTF in the chaos, he found himself on the street looking at how a bunch of folks were breaking in malls and shops, taking whatever is useful. In 5 minutes, he was in a local museum with some young people who were breaking stuff and taking whatever useful things they could. He said, "When I saw local policemen completely drunk trying to take on German uniform and helmet for fun, I realized that we are starting to live in interesting times." He took the machine gun from a glass box, together with some bullet strips, and went home. 10 days later, some punks tried to loot his home armed with knives and screwdrivers. I put those bullet strips on me, took a machine gun, stand in front of them. This is the section that I was wanting to discuss here. People become the dark person they've always wanted to be. Not everyone was a good person who found themselves in a bad situation. Some of the people survived by tapping into the darkness that was there inside them the entire time. One man that Selko knew before everything happened was a factory worker. He was the kind of guy who you had coffee with or drank a beer with, nice enough and unremarkable, until shit hit the fan. Then he became a guy who forced people to run through the area where snipers were shooting people, then followed with shooting them himself. He was powerful, and the people around him did the things he told them, and in return he protected and fed them. There's nothing deep and philosophical in that guy's behavior and mindset. He was just a normal guy who turned bad because he loved power and was in a world without rules where he could play. He lived on the bad side and lived a fast and evil life. He liked that shit. He liked that shit hit the fan situation. But shit hit the fan did not create that guy. He was there all the time. His real character just waited for shit hit the fan to come out and play. And this we will find true about many, many people. All of us have demons. All of us have urges. It's just a matter of who will fight their demons, who will fight their urges. And in my opinion, the dude really wasn't evil. But that's just the little snippet I know about of him. He says, Selko says, "Now this guy was not alone. When the shit hit the fan, a whole bunch of weird and sick folks emerged. And I've told you this many times. When shit hits the fan, all the perverts, rapists, you name it, are going to come crawling out of the woodwork. And it's going to be your duty to kill them. And by the way, that is the only thing that is appropriate for these people. Killing them. The point is that you never know what kind of people you are living around, or even with you. And to make things worse, as I said, this guy was something like a normal guy. Besides those normal guys who turned bad, there is a whole army of scum and criminals who are just waiting for shit to hit the fan, so they can go out and be something like a small dictator. And we'll have lots of people like that. And again, the only appropriate thing to do with them is kill them. Kill them in the most brutal, frightening way you can think of. Make them an example so that other people understand what the consequences are when they get caught. Anyway, thought I'd share with you, and the article is on SHTFplan.com. Hope you all have a good day. Kill the state, live free.